So find a comfortable seat, whatever that means for you. So whether it's cross-legged, with sacrum and SI stuff, the more symmetrical you are. So perhaps actually being on your knees to be symmetrical might do yourself a favor that way. And whether you're comfortable to have your eyes closed or just gazing downwards, let's take about 8 to 10 rounds of breath to slow down. The breath does not need to be big. It can be your awareness on the breath. You could have a bit of audible breath. I know with Adeline right there, she might enjoy a little bit more of an exaggerated breath. Let's do about 2 or 3 more. Let's bring one hand to the heart and one hand on belly, one hand on baby, and set an intention for your practice tonight. So whether it's a goal, a mantra, an affirmation, something you'd like to cultivate on your mat to take with you off of your mat. And I'll remind you of this intention throughout your practice tonight. Make sure it's something that lights you up, that kind of melts a little bit of ease. So if you told yourself to like relax and you instantly tense up, then ditch it, pick something else. So on your inhales, let's have your shoulders raised. So like you're really super tense, like as if your shoulders have been there all day. And then gently, not with a lot of force, you're going to exhale and draw the shoulder blades back down. So where they're supposed to be. You're going to inhale, shoulders to the ears, like you have shoulder earrings. And then on your exhale, allow them to gently drop. Let's do 3 more of those. You inhale, feel the natural lift, and then exaggerate it, and then slowly let gravity drop them down. Couple more at your own pace. And just notice how your breath, your nervous system, your body is already starting to shift. Good. From there, let's roll the shoulders up and back, up and back. The 3 of us all have littles, active littles. So also notice, like, find a little bit of that extension through the upper back. You can even turn this into a little bit of cat-cow kind of motions where you're sticking chest and baby out and then rolling back like you're doing a seated cat-cow with some shoulder mobility. And then let's go the opposite direction with the shoulder rolls. Imagine as if your collarbones are spiraling to the sides of the room. They actually move. Good. And then if you'd like to do like a little, this is coordination. One rolls forward, one rolls back. So forward and back. And you can get those ribs to open too, right? Back and forth. And then you look like you have like a little sassy, sexy hip. Woo-hoo-hoo. And then try the other way. Forward and back, forward and back. You can even check out like the arms. Are they heavy? Are they loose? Are you trying to control them? I tend to be pretty darn rigid. So see if you can kind of like, okay, let's loosen it up a little bit. especially these ribs, right? Your diaphragm, especially. And at this point, you got a little baby taking up space for the diaphragm. Okay, loves. From here, let's have either a hand down on the ground or a prop, or even at the fingertips. Let's reach over. I don't care which way you go, but I want your focus to be on those ribs and that lateral diaphragmatic breath. So if arm up here gets tired or tingly or icky, you can always have it behind you instead. Gaze can be down if the neck is pretty tense or sensitive. Gaze can be forward to the screen, or it could even rotate upwards. You can even take like all three positions. Mine's like, sounds like snap, crackle, pop a little bit, but you can kind of play around with that if it feels accessible. If it's full of tension and body saying, I don't like that at all, then don't. Let's do about 3 more rounds of breath, whether you're fighting movement or if you're finding stillness. Keeping focus on that side. And then from there, you can extend that arm out, and you can use your exhale to come back up. Take a pause, come back to your intention. What would you like to cultivate? Even if it's just the breath. And then let's do your other side. So over to the other side. Focusing now on these upper side ribs. Seeing if you can like get in between those ribs. So opening up those intercostals. And finding more room for the diaphragmatic breath. And again, if arm felt better, like behind you or to the side. And then you can also play around with gaze down, forward towards the screen, or up. Your sides are going to be different depending on what side is dominant, like carrying your little. I tend to like the inhale to gaze up, and an exhale to feel like I'm gathering in. 3 more times, 3-ish more rounds of breath, whether it's movement or stillness. Good, darlings. And then use that arm out. Use your exhale to lift. So you're using those obliques. Good. All right, let's come into like a quadruped position. So hands and toes. And then from here, let's extend one leg out to the back behind you. I'm going to move this a little bit so you can. So quadruped, and then I'm taking out one leg. So you decide which leg you want to stretch. So heels really reaching back behind you. Think of those collarbones nice and open. Yana, you might take your wrists, walk them back a little bit. Yeah, so that they're potentially more stacked with your shoulder. Adeline is now covering the camera. Now, see if you can like hug baby to the spine on those exhales. So you're inhaling, kind of letting baby go, and then you're exhaling, hugging baby into spine. And you should be getting a nice calf stretch, yeah? And then soften that leg, and then take your other leg out, trying not to wiggle too much between right and left. And then we're lengthening out the front of the hip, hugging baby into spine. Crystal, make sure that you're pressing into the earth more. So you're like using your, yeah, so press up. Yeah. So that way you can get that serratus around the ribs a little bit more versus being down here and getting shoulder blades together, shoulder blades apart. Does that, hopefully that feels better too. And then making sure that you're not locking out the back of the knee. Making sure you're not locking out the elbows, they're soft. Good, gang. And then You can walk them back. So this one, we're gonna bring like right toes up, my knees down on the ground, and then you're gonna gaze over to your toes, and then gaze over your other opposite shoulder. So same toe, but swinging back and forth, getting this like yummy spine mobility, yum yums. Should help low back and SI. Should also open up those side ribs again. And then remember, on your exhales, you're hugging baby into spine. And then when you're ready to introduce that movement to the other side, left toes can come up, knee stays down, you're glancing over left shoulder to left toes, and then you're wiggling them over, kind of serpenting to the other side, and kind of doing these little tick-tocks behind you. Being able to move tail all the way up to the between the ears. You can marry the breath with the movement. If the wrists get tender, you can always come down onto the forearms and do this. And when you feel about even, you can do a couple cat-cows, exhaling as you hug baby to spine. Inhale, allow the hammock. And then just not letting the belly go too much, especially if you feel any kind of like ripping or uncomfortableness. That's where we get in trouble with some separation. All right, my darlings. So on your right leg, we're gonna bring the right leg over to the side so that the heel is in line with the knee. So they're like these funky hip circles that feel great. And then you can circle around. Deep breath in and out. And make sure to go circle both directions, going one way and then the other. And then from there, you can heel toe your foot forward so that you're in a low lunge. This is where it might be handy to have like blocks or props to be a little higher if you feel like you're too compressed into your hip. I would like the focus to be more on your back leg so that you can really feel this nice opening for psoas in the round ligament. So for me, I never like feeling too crunched up. So I'm gonna come up onto my thigh, so my forearm's on the thigh, and I'm kind of giving, you can like go back. Oh, my hamstrings are so tight. And then you can come back forward. Like I like an inhale here because your inhales already feel scrumptious here, and then exhale to kind of pull like abs in, pelvic floor up, and then inhale, kind of release into yumminess, and then exhale, find it. And then you can kind of listen to your body. Does your body need some stillness and like have some time to be really yummy in that front, in the back hip, I should say? For me, my body's like, oh my gosh, my hamstrings are so tight. I'm gonna spend like 5 breaths for my hammies. And if hammies are speaking to you too, toes can go up to the sky, heel can stay down, or you can play with toes being down on the ground as well. You can play around with being higher if that helps you feel like more controlled over the stretch. And make sure that you're not behind the knee or too far up into your sit bones. I want you in the meat of the muscle. So the mid back thigh. Yikesies, yikesies. And then from here, you can heel toe your foot back behind you. And then go back into a cat-cow. or like a child's pose. I haven't met a single pregnant person that likes child's pose yet, but that's an offering. So you can go back. Take about 3 rounds of breath to like do something symmetrical and something restorative. And then from there, my loves, we'll heel toe your feet out to the side again, heel aligned with your right knee for those funky circles. So you'll circle one way. I kind of think of them as clocks a little bit, like you're rolling around the clock and seeing what angle, like this side is. It's a side. Let's see. All right, ladies, as long as you've done both circles in both directions, then you can heel toe your foot in front for that low lunge. Hands can be on either side. I like kind of bringing my back leg even further back and concentrating on the length in the front of the hip on the right side. Different side, different story is pretty typical. So if this feels comfortable, stay here. If you need to transfer forearm to thigh. Yep, and like you guys are doing, the rocking back and forth, being aware, stillness or movement. So exhales on the way back, inhales to find more space. And take about 3 to 5 more rounds of breath. See if you can stay with the breath as much as possible. And then from there, you can heel toe your feet back as long as you feel even. We'll take a down dog on this transition just to get ourselves up. So you tuck those toes behind you, come into a cow shape, and then on your exhale, lift booty up into the sky. Let head drop, maybe do some yeses and some nos. And then from there, you can walk your hands to your feet, forward fold. Inhale, you can halfway lift, hands to the thighs or like just above the knee, bending the knee ever so slightly so that you can give yourself like a nice neutral spine. You can do some shoulder shrugs here again, different relationship with the gravity. And then from there, bend the knees, exhale, come all the way up. So I'm going to shift my computer around, see if this gives me. So we're going to be standing. All right. So hands to belly and heart for a moment. Reconnect to your intention for your practice tonight. Good. If you have like a block or a couple books to stand on or like a stool, that'd be handy. We're gonna do some balancing so we can kind of let go of the front and the side of the hip. So I have a yoga block nearby. A stool works nicely too, or some books or a pillow. Good, awesome. All right, guys. So from here, go ahead and step on block. That way you can like let your legs swing a little bit without any like excess sway in your low back. So let's see here. I'll go on this leggy. So balancing and swinging. So on your exhale, you're moving leg forward, inhale, back. But I'm trying to keep baby to spine versus swaying, okay? So the other way to think of it is pubic bone to the tip of your sternum. So inhale to go back, exhale forward. You can always have like little prop, like I could use the dresser. A little balance. Swinging forward and back. And then from here, you can also go side to side. So side and back. And in those side, so as you go open and back, keep the length of your waistlines happening versus crunching them or shortening them. I don't care how high the leg goes. I want you to build more strength around the hips and pelvis. Inhale, and then exhale in. Inhale, exhale in. Make sure you're not locking out the standing leg. Flexed foot on the bottom will get you more into this outer guy. 3 more. 1 more. And then you can kind of kick, cross kick, cross kick. Exhaling as you cross the midline. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Circles. Hopefully your standing leg is starting to burn. Circle, circle, circle. Creating that length in the front of the hip again. And then circle, circle, circle the other way. Whee! And then you can step down. From there, hand on belly, hand on heart. Take a moment to pause and notice the differences in the hips. What has shifted? Maybe one feels tighter than the other. Come back into your intention. Connect back to baby. How is baby feeling? Then from here, go onto your other leggy. So you'll start off with the swing. So you'll inhale behind you, exhale back, keeping an eye on low back. I don't want any excessive sway here. Do about 5 more. Sometimes like a little bit of that feedback of self-touch can help. And using those exhales to hug baby into spine. When you feel roughly even, then you're gonna play around with those out and in. I feel like I've done the same leg. Out and in. Keeping an eye on the length of your waistline. Softness through your standing leg. So there should be a little bend in the knee. Just make sure you're not locking out the joint. Flexed foot on the bottom so you can really get into like tensor fascia lata and this lateral side of the hip. Glute med is up here. Practice your balance. We'll get your core. 3 more. Last one. What else did we do? We kicked like a little soccer ball around, a little imaginary. Oop. On your exhales, exhaling as you hit the midline. So think pelvic floor is up and in. What was another little baby? Girls have joined for 5-ish. And then you can go into the circles. And then you can do the other circles. The little bit of lift of the other leg is just letting this guy get a little bit more room so the head of the femur in the hip socket gets to move a little bit more freely. Good, darlings. And then make your way back down onto the ground. Come back to hands to heart and belly. Come back to the intention. And maybe even take a breath, even though littles are present. All right, guys. So from there, grab your block, bring block, or whatever you had. What did you guys have? Okay, don't worry about it.
Cool. I'll get a pillow.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. Imagine as if you had a block or a ball in between the inner thighs, okay? So I want you to just kind of feel like you're using more of the inner thighs versus like loading too much on the glutes, although I want you to use the glutes. We're gonna go into a chair, okay? So imagine you have a block or a fitness ball, and then you're gonna come down and then come back up. Exhaling on the ups. Inhale to come down, exhale, and then again, mitigating any too much sway, yeah? So hug baby into that spine. It might limit your range. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2. Let's hold on the bottom here. So hands can come to the heart. You can lift the heels if you want to have a little bit of a balance challenge. You can sit down a little lower. Squeeze that imaginary block. And on your exhale, come on up. We'll go wide stance. So I'll go this way. So wide, like shoulder width, or maybe even wider. Goddess pose. So you're gonna bend the knees between big toe, second toe. Try to have the shoulders as much over the hips as possible. And let's do bending the elbows, and then exhale up. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Inhale, exhale. So the method behind this is getting those glutes a little bit more working so that the front of the pelvis can get a little bit longer, a little bit more balanced. Let's do 3 more. Here, there's Charlotte laughing. 2. And then we're gonna come back down, come down, and hold. So whether hands, belly and heart, hands can be at prayer. You can lift the heels up again if you want a balance challenge without pitching forward. Get those Leggies all burning. You can even do a little couple pulses here if you want to get those glutes really firing. Use those exhales on that pelvic floor for 5. Last one. And then all the way up. Heel toe your feet in, and then come back to that standing stance. Hopefully breath is a little bit like heartbeat. Good. Let's do a tree pose with our standing. So pick a side, whichever side you want. Tree can be at your ankle, tree can be on your calf, tree can be on your inner thigh. I find that like a balance pose for us moms is like a good embodiment. And then come back. Take a pause like in the middle, making sure I got all my little standing poses in here. And then from there, you can switch sides. Foot can be on the ankle, calf, or inner thigh. You can slowly take a moment or two. I did that side really fast. But when you feel like you're equal enough for you, come back into the middle. Okay. So we'll descend down back onto the ground. Normally, like in a studio setting, we do like a minute wall sit. So whatever way you want to come down, whether it's like a good old squat, we can do a squat real fast. I'm going to use my handy dandy yoga block since I have it with me, because my body and I don't like squats. But on this rug, it's super hard. All right, so take a couple rounds of breath here in your version of your squat. Let's take about 8 rounds of breath. So just kind of like in the beginning of our practice. So the next couple of shapes we're gonna do are on your back, but with nuance. So we're gonna do a bridge, because a bridge helps lengthen out the front of the hips. You being on your back for a second should be fine, and then you're gonna lift your hips up so that the heart and the baby aren't in the same plane. So a bridge should be okay. If your body says otherwise, listen to your body. And then from there, I would have like a pillow or something so that you can slide it underneath your head so you are elevated. And then we'll do the Apasana, which is a knee to your belly. All right, so bridging. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down onto my side, And then I'm gonna roll over and feet underneath hips. Once you're here, arms beside you, lift hips up. So that way you get this nice length in the front of your hip. Baby's up, neutral spine. And use your inhales to feel like baby's expanding. And on your exhales, baby's in. So 5 rounds of breath. And then from there, you can come down, place a blanket or pillow underneath your head so you're elevated, and then use your exhale to draw like right knee in, left leg long. So either knees towards belly or baby, or it could be off to the side. So again, we're providing that length in the other leg, left leg. You can totally have that leg bent if it feels better for your low back. So let's spend like 8 to 10 rounds of breath there. If possible, try to stay with the breath so that you can give your busy mind a bit of a break, which will help clear out the path to clarity and answers. From there, you can put that guy down. You can take a pause in the middle, so whether the legs are bent or whether they're long, depending on what's going on in your body. And then use your exhale to bring up the other leg, and then whether the other leg, the long leg, is long or whether the foot is down. Then you're taking about 8 to 10 rounds of breath here. Negotiating where the belly or the knee to the belly. So is it knee to baby or is it knee out to the side? What feels better for you today? And then from there, coming back into that symmetry. So whether legs are long or whether they're bent to help with the low back, if you have any sensitivity there today. And then from there, you can walk your feet in, soles of the feet together, knees open wide. Hands can be on belly and heart. Lift the inner thighs, get a nice stretch into that cobbler pose. We'll be there for about 8 to 10 rounds of breath before we add a little bit of work. So take a moment to be. And then from there, arms could be beside you. Use your exhales to bring knees in. The slower, the better. And then inhale, let the knees go away from each other. Exhale, slower the better to really work that resistance. Inhale back. One last one. Exhaling as they come in. Inhale to come back. Good, guys. Let's roll over onto your sides because I think both of you have littles. And then you can exhale slowly coming up from the ground. Oh, coming back up to the seated position. Good. So take a moment just to be back into the seated position. Take a breath or two. I think what we'll do is we'll do a couple arm sequences just to like tone the arms a bit. And then we'll do a couple seated stretches. I know both of you have littles around, so like I normally like to do a long shavasana with breath, but with littles that makes it kind of hard for obvious reasons. So I think we're gonna do some toning for the arms, a couple little stretches, and then a seated meditation slash breath practice. Does that sound like doable? Okay. So let's go into good old offering. So palms up, and you're gonna like scoop baby, imaginary baby. I love it. And then you can exhale, come back. Inhale, you're scooping baby out of the crib with like a little bend of the elbows, and then you're placing baby back into the crib. And we can do this with like uh like little weights, hand weights. I get my reformer on Wednesday, ladies. Boop, 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 boop. 3 more. 2. I mean, just doing this should be hard enough. Y'all have kids already, so you can be like, do a couple, roll Adeline a couple times. And then this one, opening, but I want you to focus on like drawing shoulder blades back. I don't want you to feel like you're pinching them too hard though. They get pretty sensitive. And back. So this is an inhale, this is an exhale. So you can feel like everything's kind of gathered in belly and back. And this one too, you can have like weights and really focusing shoulder blades together because us mommies tend to like start rolling forward. Yeah. This is like trying to draw us back the other direction. Let's do it 5 more times for selfish reasons. Last one. Palms down in front of you like you're a zombie. And then you can come overhead like you're reaching stuff off. Well, you can even do this. Oh, that hurts so much. And then over to the other side. You can even do like little, like little aerobic jazzercise, but it should get those that lateral thoracic breath for you. But anyway, and then zombie arms, and then lift up again. So you're zombieing, and then you're gonna lift for those stuff in the garage, and then back to zombie, and add a rotation. So palms down, and then palms rotate and go behind you if it feels okay, and then back down. 1 or 2 more, and then we'll do tree huggers. So Anna can hug Adeline. How you doing, Is that Miriam? No. Oh, that's Navi, yeah? Did I guess that one right? Yeah. Look at glasses. Okay, so we did the little rotation, yeah? And then we do tree hugger. Exhale, you hug Adeline. And then inhale, bear hug. Get ready for it. Shoulder blades together. And then squeeze, hug, 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 hug. And then inhale. and then hug, 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 and kind of like notice like which arm is on top. Do both, yeah? So this and then this, right? Switching the arms because it's different. Our arms and shoulders and necks all get a, and then focus like shoulder blades together, shoulder blades apart, shoulder blades together, shoulder blades apart. One more time. Oh my gosh, you guys are so stinking cute. Do it again. Oh, Adeline, you disappeared on me. All right, guys, and then take a little breather. So take a moment, like notice if there's any shifts. No, I see that, Adeline. Deep breath in and out. More are coming to Crystal. Let's go into Janushirasana for one more lateral thing, and then we'll go into a seated meditation breath practice, see how that goes for us. So one leg out, one leg in. And then over. So you can either do this little ballerina pose, or you can have sternum towards knee. That might feel really yummy, like on the QL and low back. Take about 5 rounds of breath. Crystal, you did so well. Use your exhale to come up. Switch sides. Over to the other side. You can do that open one, or you can have heart towards knee. You can use exhale to come up. Find a symmetrical pose. So whether that's going to be a cobbler pose, or you can have your Dandasana with your legs straight and stretch, or you can even go wide. Take about eight rounds of breath, last shape, before you go into meditation. And then exhale, come up. All right, ladies, choose a shape choose a shape to sit in. So whether you're seated, or you can lay down, or you can be hugging a little girl. Yeah, you all have girls. And eyes can be closed, or they can be down. You can also check out how neck is doing. You can roll neck if you still need a little bit of movement. After you've kind of like got some more of the wiggles out, see if you can be still. Beginning to tune inwards into you and into baby. Give hands to belly and baby, or I should say baby and heart really resonate with you. It's like a nice hug for you, and it's a nice hug for baby. Come back to seeing if you can concentrate and focus on the breath. Allowing breath to inhale, bringing nourishment and connection to baby. And letting your exhales Take away or release anything that doesn't serve you and doesn't serve the baby. So, inhaling nourishment, exhaling, letting go. Take about 8 to 10 rounds of breath in this way. From there, let's connect back into our intention. What did you set for yourself and baby at the beginning of your practice? Can you remind yourself of at least one thing, one person you are grateful for today? Thank you so much for being here tonight, you guys. You guys are amazing. I'm going to stop the recording.